Welcome to episode 166 of the Muck Podcast, a member of the Odd Pods Media Network. Listen in as we discuss the dark and sometimes weird true stories in American politics. I'm Tina Hadamio.
And I'm Hillary Doherty.
Here we go again.
It's almost St. Patrick's Day, so go to say Doherty like you're supposed to, you know, Tina.
Doherty.
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 Doherty. I've never been to Ireland, Tina.
No.
Me neither. Love to go.
I know, because we want to see all the hot Irishmen.
Oy vey, I gotta go find my manager. Oh, you're not a patron? You don't know the story about the Irish soccer team manager.
Yeah, go pay for patron.
When he told me, this is a ticket to fucking paradise.
Ooh.
And you missed it, lass.
Ooh,
Damn
it. That was good.
I wanted to bring this up to you because I'm sure that you maybe have seen this, but we haven't talked about it. You covered on episode 112 Bruce's Beach.
Yes.
Okay. So it was an area where Black Americans bought this beach, this property, and built a resort there.
Yes.
And it was where Black folks could come in and go to the beach because the beaches were segregated.
Yes, but then they had like the parties and like
it was a whole community thing.
Yes.
On the Sundays, everybody would go. Okay, in California. Well, then the state comes in and takes the land. Right. Steals it basically from this. They put them out of business.
But they got their reparations back.
So the family eventually in 2020 they started there was an activist who helped the family get the property back from the state. They were given the property back. It was huge, and it was like, when I was reading about this recently, it said that this was a like landmark case where Black folks, Black Americans could go back and use this legal this case as a template to get the reparations, right? Well, recently, I don't know if you saw this, because it's been in the news the last couple of days, the family sold the property. And the activists and other people who were fighting for this family are like disappointed that the family sold it for, I think, about $200 million.
You know what? Let them make some money. Think about all the money that they lost over the years, and they're probably like, we haven't run a beach. You know what I mean? Like, I would imagine that it takes a lot to own land and what's on the land and what, you know what I mean?
Right.
Make your money.
But isn't that what reparations are? I mean, maybe one thing to be like, here's the land, but what the value is what you need. And if you can make the money, like, and so these activists were disappointed, and I'm like, don't be disappointed. This is this is exactly what you worked for this family to be.
Now this is intergenerational wealth for that family that can be used for
gain the wealth that they were
decades
stolen
and decades
from
and
them.
decades and decades and decades
Absolutely.
from now.
I loved it. Anyway, that's a big thing in the news right now, is this Bruce's Beach being sold, and I'm like, good for them. Good for them.
What if they don't want to upkeep the beach? Like, and if it hasn't been in their family, right? Like, so it's not like they've learned or you know what I mean? Like, you got to be in that business. Yeah. And so, good for you. Make that money.
And I think the folks, the family that started it would be happy that this has now happened.
Right, because now it's secured money for that family. Yeah. Good for them.
$200 million, bitch, bye. Goodbye.
Please. Can you adopt me?
That's what I'm saying. I wanted to say congratulations, because on Saturday, March 18th, two of our friends from our Odd Pods family are getting married. Somebody's getting married.
Going to the chapel and we're gonna get married. Going to the chapel and we're gonna get married. Gee, I really love you and we're gonna get married. Going to the chapel of love. That's for you guys.
God.
We're serenading you.
As a divorced woman, that was like taking a bullet. Okay?
But we're celebrating their love, and I mean, how adorable are they?
Listen, you did not go to the dinner that I had celebrating Lauren's birthday when they came down here. You missed a delightful young lady named Lauren. I think she's delightful. And, you know, if you listen to her podcast, or even just like in the Odd Pods, you get those vibes. Yes. In person, it's infectious. Oh. If I can give an infectious group.
No pun intended. Or no,
her joy is infectious, and it's purposeful. Like she said, like, this is what I'm trying to do. Like, put these good vibes out in the world, and I I get it. I dig it. It's opposite of what I try to put out in the world, but I think that's why I really like it. You know what I mean? Because I'm always like, we're gonna die. Lauren's like, everything's good. And
it's the yin and the yang,
yes.
baby.
And Russ is quite a gentleman and very sweet, and you can tell that they have a lot of love for each other, and I'm very, very happy for them.
Yes, congratulations.
Can't ever, listen, the world is a crazy place, and I think, and I've always thought, and maybe because I'm a bit of a romantic, but I always thought that the reason we're here on this earth is to love, the end. And if you are lucky enough to find the one person who's like your soulmate and you can be with them for 50, 60 years, I'm obsessed with those stories. Yes. I'm fucking obsessed with people who are together 60, 50, 60 years.
I say this,
it's incredible.
I say this to my children all the time. Like, I just said it to my son the other day because we were talking about some of these like anti-gay bills and these legislators that are just horrible people, and I said, with all of the chaos, with all of the bad things in the world, to find love, why would you strip that away from someone? Why do you care? Like, it's so beautiful.
Yeah. And but like I was saying, poor Tina, she has to get political every time.
Sorry.
Look at her. Ugh, brought me right the fuck down. But if you're lucky enough to find that person, if it could be your first, your second, your third, your fourth relationship, whatever it is, if you've been able to love 5, 6 times in your life, it's always special. It's always incredible. So I just think that this is amazing. And I wish I could go. But they're going to have a bigger thing in 2024. We have to go.
We have to go. We're inviting ourselves. We're inviting ourselves.
But we're
to
here.
Wedding.
Like, why would we not go to the wedding?
So send the invitations our way.
Yes,
because we're going.
We'll be there 24.
The only thing I was going to say is we did bring it up last episode is that the attack on the First Amendment rights of Floridians. That anyone who is a blogger or anyone who speaks out against the government has to have their name put on a list. Mm-hmm. Like, this is, again, we're moving into Nazi Germany, right? The names on the list. What are they going to do with us? Where are they going to put us? You know what I mean? This is... I'm just afraid. I am afraid of a 2024 win for this guy. Because I'm telling you, like, the country, I don't think we can handle it.
Oh, we can't. No. I am mentally prepared for it. I am mentally prepared for what will happen when he becomes president, because it is going to happen, and he will bring us to our knees, the entire country. And like what you said last week, I think is so good. And it is just the greatest thing about DeSantis and what he's doing is that it's highly publicized. So y'all are aware. Yep. No matter where you're sitting right now listening to this, you are well aware, whether you're in Michigan, Ohio, Cali, Massachusetts, Germany, where there's a lot of people listening, apparently love you guys. Hi. You all know. So you're prepared. You know what he's bringing to the table. This isn't a surprise.
Yeah,
like,
we can't act shocked. We can't
Yeah, sometimes candidates run that they're governors of Colorado, and I'm like, oh, who's this guy? Right? And you don't really know when they're running for president. Y'all are well aware.
Oh, no. I mean, his name has been plastered enough across the country.
So you know the devastation and damage he can bring. I mean, there was a liberal wrote something, I think it was an opinion piece this week for the New York Times, and it said, my fellow liberals are making a big deal about Ron DeSantis, and what the things he's doing are not that big of a deal. And I thought, that's the exact opposite. He clearly doesn't live here. And you don't even understand, it's just like how the Republicans tried to sell Don't Say Gay last year. Listen, do you want 5-year-olds to hear about what gay is? Do you want a teacher telling 5-year-olds what queer is? We should not be talking to our kindergartners about this. It's only K through 3. It's only K through 3. Right.
But now, guess what? It's moving up the line.
That's right. That's what they do. They sell you on the nugget, the little crumb. And then the following year, they're going to serve you the whole meal. And now they're taking shit books out of high school. They're coming after universities. This isn't stopping at it's always sold with the icing on the cake is, we need to protect your children. But the cake is filled with hate and discrimination.
And they're going to swallow it.
And people are like, my babies. Listen, if you have any sort of faith in yourself as a parent, you shouldn't be worried about what someone's saying in school. Your kids are going to come to you. The kids hear you. They know what you're about. And they can teach my kids all the anti-LGBTQ shit they want in school. They know that shit don't fly with me.
Right.
And I'm their mother. And so if you think that my opinion about things doesn't count more than what the school is saying, you're fucking wrong.
And if you think that your kids aren't hearing about sex in school,
please.
It's
school.
Please.
We've had this conversation. They look it up on their phones in 2 seconds. They know what things are.
And they have the crazy conversations. They listen to stupid ass songs. My middle schooler, dear God.
By the way, did you ask about see you next Tuesday?
I did. I asked my son. I said, do you know what see you next Tuesday is? And he's like, what? And I said, the C word. And he's like, no, I know the C word. I'm like, but see you next Tuesday. He's like, yeah, we don't do that.
Yeah. I asked my daughter the same thing.
Yeah.
I said, do you know what see you next Tuesday is? And she's like, no. I'm like, see you
I did the
next Tuesday. She's like, no. And then she goes, I don't know what you're saying. And then she goes, oh, yeah, I've heard that word. I go, it's a terrible, filthy word.
Yeah. My son said,
that I never say.
So my son says it. My son says it to his friend who is British, who's British.
Oh my God.
And like in England, it's like a common word. Like they use it a much more,
This is where I need to go.
Than we do here. You know what I mean? So it's not like as offensive like when we hear it here. Yeah. So he's like, oh yeah, I say it to my friend all the time is what he said. So I thought that was funny. But yeah, he didn't know. He's like, who cares?
Well, I have a hot guy of the week.
Oh, another one.
Bitch, I'm doing this every week. It's on my list.
Okay.
Now let me tell you something about this guy real quick.
Oh, hi.
I didn't know how hot he was until this show comes out. It's called Daisy Jones and the Six. It's on Amazon.
I don't have Amazon.
He looks like, do you know who he looks exactly like?
Who?
Fuck it, I'm throwing it out there. He looks exactly like Cody from our friend Cody from, what's it?
Well, there was this podcast that they had, but hi, Cody.
Hi, Cody. Wait, what was the name of the podcast? I can't believe Hella's Full of Dads. Oh my God! I was their biggest fan. I can't believe I can't remember. Barefoot Lobo and Cody.
Oh gosh.
This guy looks like Cody
to me. Throwing it back.
But only looks like Cody now because he's got longer hair in this movie Daisy Jones and the Six. Like he doesn't look like Cody any other way. But on his Instagram, his pictures are fucking
let me see.
Insane. But this is what he looks like. Okay, he was in Hunger Games. He looked like this in Hunger Games. He was in the first one, and I think he gets killed in the first one. But
these other pictures I like.
Wait. Look at
that one right there.
Look at this one. Look at this. Doesn't he look like Cody?
Yes.
Look at that hair and the beard.
Look how cute. He's cute. Okay,
he's so cute. Anyway, Sam. His name is. Wait, I don't think I said his name.
Oh.
His name is Sam Claflin.
Oh.
And he's English. And he's. And I showed my daughter and I. We usually don't have the same sort of type when we look at boys. And I said, about this guy, she's like, she's like, and I was like, oh my God. Anyway, Sam Claflin can get it. He can get it.
I think on our Insta we will be posting, our hot guy of the week, a picture.
Oh, we totally should do it. Oh my!
That's what we're doing. That's our other. We'll have our band book clip, and we'll have our hot guy of the week clip. Mine is boring. Yours is hot.
We gotta do it. We gotta do a little bit of both, I think.
Yes.
All right. What's up? You're first. Let's hit it.
Oh yeah, I am first. Okay. So today, I'm gonna tell you the story of the Holmesburg Prison experiments.
Oh my God!
I'm sorry.
Never ends.
It never ends. So Holmesburg Prison housed prisoners in Philadelphia beginning in 1896.
Woo!
But when a doctor conducted unethical medical experiments, he exploited and harmed hundreds of inmates. So our story takes place in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania from about 1951 to 1974.
Wow.
It's a long stretch of time. So let me give you a little background on the prison. So from the beginning, there were issues with overcrowding at this prison. And with overcrowding, of course, violence can happen. Mm-hmm. The prison was around for a long time. So here's just an overview of some of the things that have happened. And I got this from Abandoned America, an article on the prison by Matthew Christopher. So in 1928, a series of riots broke out due to overcrowding. In 1938, prisoners staged a hunger strike due to the quality of the food. The guards took 25 of the rioters who they saw as like sort of being the leaders of this riot and locked them in a small space in the middle of August, closed the vents, and turned up the heat. 4 of the men were essentially boiled alive.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Can you imagine? And that's not even like the major incident. And then fights and murders occurred over the years. Again, a lot of time due to this overcrowding. And the prison earned the nickname the Terror Dome.
Oh my God, dude.
And I understand the housing of prisoners. But at the same time, these are human beings. And they have to be treated like human beings. Despite, you know what I mean? Like, they're still human beings. And if we don't treat them like humans, then we're just as bad as whatever crime they committed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, listen, just because somebody committed a crime and now they're serving their time doesn't mean they get to be treated like animals. They're literally doing time. You don't have to make it any worse than that. They're already locked up.
Yeah.
Why do you make it worse?
I mean...
It's already bad. Oh my God.
So, starting in 1951, Holmesburg prisoners were subjected to experiments by Dr. Albert Kligman.
Oh.
And we
sounds
did,
like a villain.
Yeah,
a villain.
I know, it does. And we've done stories like you did the syphilis experiments, and then I covered another prison that did experiments. And so this is sort of along the same lines. And the thing that's similar, the common thread in these stories is that the men were not often told the full-scale details of what would happen to them in the long term.
Oh my God.
Right? From these experiments. In fact, they were often told like, oh, there's no long-term side effects, like stuff like that. And so they trust that, right? And then we have to think, right, that there's this, and the people, of course, who were harmed the most were African Americans in the prison. And when we think about the mistrust in the medical community, a lot of times within the African American community, right, there's no surprise that there's a lack of trust in doctors when these type of things like have happened.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and it stems from this type of exploitation. It's wild to me.
Yeah.
So let me tell you a bit about Kligman. He was a dermatologist. He was born in Philly. He went to Penn State, and then later he got a degree in botany from the Ivy League University of Pennsylvania. And this was according to his bio on his wiki page. Eventually, he became known for his research and experiments. Basically, his work is essentially a prime example of unethical treatment and behavior towards humans. Like, that's how I see it. Criminal justice professor A.M. Hornblum wrote about Kligman, and Tannenbaum's Philly Voice article notes that greed seemed to fuel this program. Okay. God. So according to Kat Eschner's article for Popular Science, Kligman said he got consent for the experiments, right? So that's from the state, right? When we talk about how is this politically connected, it's because the state, which runs the prison, was like, sure, you can do experiments on our prisoners. Oh. And they did say that the inmates were paid. But she notes that at the time that he was doing the experiments, paying folks to participate, because this was in the through the 70s, right, was considered a form of coercion and corruption of consent, right? Because again, you're paying people, but then again, the long-term effects of this, it doesn't gel.
Right.
And a textbook on medical ethics from Queensborough Community College notes that a large amount of the testing was dermatological, so it had to do with the skin. Right. And things that they were testing out were cosmetics and that sort of thing, toothpaste, shampoo. But the chapter also notes that there were other invasive and essentially torturous experiments that included hair transplants, pulling out fingernails.
What?
And exposure to lethal chemicals. And they even have them ingest toxic substances. And I'll get into that. I mean,
my God.
It's wild. It's wild. So Hornblum of the Philadelphia Inmate Justice Coalition was working at the prison at the time and said he saw, quote, scores and scores of inmates with patches on their backs and their arms being part of all sorts of experiments, some innocuous, some quite dangerous. They were really lab rats in every sense of the word, but they were human beings who were powerless.
Wow. Oh my God, this is so bad.
And an NPR article notes how powerless these men really were. The article talks about how they were, so some of these men were waiting to bond out, right? So if they can't afford the bond and someone's like, hey, I'll pay you to do XYZ experiment,
this is so
they'll take the money so that they can try to bond out.
Oh my God, Tina.
And then many others were illiterate,
Oh.
So they can't consent or read or comprehend the future damage because they're not reading what they're signing, right?
And the worst part is the people doing this know that. But they know these guys can't read. They know that they're poor and they want the money. They need the money to get out. Like, this is so fucked up that they take advantage of people like this. It's
disgusting. And this Kligman guy, you know, assured these men that there would be no long-lasting problems. So again, if a doctor's standing before you saying, oh, we want to try out the skin cream, we want to try out this thing, and oh yeah, you know, there's no long-lasting effects, we'll even pay you for it. Okay, like, why not? I need some money.
Yeah.
And you're in prison, you're not making any money. So Eschner notes that Kligman inoculated Black prisoners with STIs. He gave them components of Agent Orange, asbestos, and other fungi. So let me just talk about the experiments. So he did ringworm testing. So he would, you know, put the fungus to like test for ringworm. So he essentially would give them ringworm. And then as far as the STIs go, it was specifically mainly herpes and HPV.
Oh my God.
And besides Agent Orange, they were given other mind-altering drugs to test for the U.S. Army. The United States Army was like, hey, can you do us a solid and test out this stuff? And so he tested radioactive material in the prisoners as well.
Oh my God. What is going on here? This is insane.
On human beings.
Oh my God. No.
I mean, 1950, 1974, like, I feel like we know a little better, don't we?
No.
And he also tested dioxin, which is a highly toxic chemical compound that can harm several organs and interferes with hormones. And one experiment, according to the Philadelphia Inquirer, requested that they inject asbestos into the inmates so that they could compare it to the use of talcum powder on the skin. You know, like that's what they were doing. Asbestos. So an NPR article by the AP noted that the city of Philadelphia granted Kligman permission to do the experiments.
Oh,
right?
God.
And this is highlighting the racism here. Like, clearly we know that
this is not right.
That one, because they're already a marginalized group and they're prisoners, like, it's like they don't matter.
Right.
It's wild.
They're less than human.
It's wild to me.
Yeah. And again, you know, somebody commits a crime for whatever reason, economic, whatever it could be, that they commit a crime.
And then
if they're waiting to bond out, that means that the crime wasn't something that was major. Right? So, yeah, and you're going to take advantage of them. But they're already in the jail.
Yeah.
You've already locked them up. What else do you want? Look, no one's asking to give them a T-bone steak every night for dinner. Give them the food that's appropriate, right? But Florida prisons. Who was on here? Lauren Book? Was it Lauren Book who said, like, Florida prisons don't have air conditioning?
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. Florida prison, there's like more, I think 70% of Florida prisons don't have air conditioning.
I can't imagine. Because you would imagine too, like, heat.
Right.
Like that, you know, that people, you hear about this all the time, like fights and things break out because it's so hot. You know what I mean? And then you have people already in crowded prisons.
Right.
I just hate everything. So the thing that is most upsetting is that this doctor had no remorse.
Oh,
in an interview,
my God.
In an interview from 1966, Michael Tannenbaum of the Philly Voice cites Kligman as saying, quote, "All I saw before me were acres of skin. It was like a farmer seeing a field for the first time."
He's psychotic.
I mean, what an opportunistic asshole.
How do you describe human beings as acres of skin? That is...
And as a farmer seeing a field for the first time.
I just got a flash of, like, Silence of the Lambs.
Like, it creeps me out. Like, I got goosebumps from it.
That is the most dead inside.
Yeah. He doesn't see them as people.
Heard.
He's like, ooh, what can I do with this?
That is frightening. And he's a doctor?
He's a doctor.
That's frightening.
Mm-hmm. The Wikipedia article on the experiments noted that he once had this to say, quote, "All those people could have leukemia now. About 1 chance in 20 billion. And I could be hit by an asteroid when I walk out on the street. But I don't think I will."
These are the kinds of doctors that, like, Ron DeSantis has giving him advice on masks and vaccines. And then he has a press conference and they bring up these wackadoos who are like, real doctors who don't believe in vaccines and don't believe in... one out of, like, 1 million doctors. He finds the one who's against the vaccines and masks.
And speaking of vaccines, you just triggered a memory. something that just came out is that DeSantis is trying to say that, or put forward in a bill, I don't know how they're going to do it, but that if you've been vaccinated, you can't donate blood anymore.
Okay, I mean, what the fuck?
I mean but there's already shortages of blood.
But you're already harming it. You're harming the community, medical community, and like victims of crimes, like
it's one thing after the next after the next. I can't even keep up with it.
He's just, it's just a fucking reach. It's a reach of like dumb shit all the time.
And this is a guy. He went to supposedly our best schools. Like, really?
Yeah, maybe Ivy League ain't that fucking
Yeah,
thing.
no, I don't think so.
Maybe it ain't so great.
Screw the Ivy League.
Oh. That's our stand here on the Muck Podcast. Screw the Ivy League. Fuck you.
So, the aftermath. In October 2022, the city of Philadelphia issued an apology for the experiments in 2022.
Oh, go fuck yourself.
According to an NPR article.
What's that help people? Why don't you just say, this was fucked up? Like, what's the apology? Give me a fucking break.
All right, then Mayor Jim Kenney issued this apology. Quote, "Without excuse, we formally and officially extend a sincere apology to those who were subjected to this inhumane and horrific abuse. We are also sorry it took far too long to hear these words." And just this year, in January 2023, almost 50 years after the last experiment, the College of Physicians of Philadelphia offered an apology for the experiments, according to Nicole Leonard of WHYY. Leonard cited Alan Hornblum from the Philadelphia Inmate Justice Coalition, who stated, quote, "It just became an accepted part of the medical penal culture in the city. It's a black mark for the city, and in particular, its criminal justice system." In 2000, 300 prisoners tried to sue, but they missed the statute of limitations.
Oh my God. Well, Philadelphia, how about putting your money where your apology is? How about that?
And those of you who are listening, if you want to help, there is an Action Network petition calling on the University of Pennsylvania to pay for the medical experiments done to the prisoners. They have a goal of 800 people to sign. They're not at that goal. So if you want to help those prisoners and call on the university to take, financial ownership of what they did all those years.
They got the money.
Yeah, click the show notes. Oh, they definitely have the money to sign and help. And then some points of interest. The doctor involved, that Dr. Kligman, he was a dermatology professor at the University of Pennsylvania. He invented the acne medication, Retina A, that's still used today. And he did conduct his early research on inmates.
Oh, I was going to say, that off the acres of skin that he had in front of him.
But that's like, you see that everywhere.
Oh, that motherfucker's making dough.
Yeah, well,
he's dead.
Yeah, he's dead now.
Well, can we dig him up and fucking throw shit at him?
Another thing
sue the company that's got Retina A formula. This is bullshit. That's part of it. It's just garbage. Like the Henrietta Lacks. Her DNA was used to. What I'm saying? Her cells were used, and all these different experiments they were taken from her though under false pretenses, and her cells were used and reused over and over and over again to like cure different sorts of or identify cancer cells and all kinds of things. I mean, it's incredible, but it was against her will. Black woman, of course. Taken advantage of.
So another thing I found interesting in the article is that a couple of doctors, also dermatologists, who knew Kligman's sordid past felt that he was unethical and shouldn't have the accolades that he still carried well into 2022. So they reached out to the Society for Investigative Dermatology that had an annual award in Kligman's name, presented research highlighting Kligman's practices, and the Society for Investigative Dermatology removed his name from the award. So it doesn't change what happened, but at least it does show that the victims, that this guy isn't going to be honored any longer. Like that legacy of his name is going to be stripped from these things. The University of Pennsylvania removed his name from a lecture series and a professorship so there was a professorship named after him that you could apply for, but now it no longer carries his name.
So they recognize.
Yeah, they issued an apology. They did. And this guy wasn't just doing experiments for the college or the U.S. Army. He was backed by some well-known companies like Johnson & Johnson and the Dow Chemical Company, according to the Philly Voice's Michael Tannenbaum. And these corporations need to be held accountable too.
Yeah. They all should be ponying up some dough.
And one of the survivors, Leodis Jones, became an activist and fought for justice for the victims of Kligman and the Holmesburg experiments. After his death, his daughter, Adrienne Jones Alston, has taken on his role, according to Denali Sagner's Billy Penn article. So she is still fighting for these prisoners, some of them who are still alive and still, and the side effects that some of them talked about. You can go to the show notes and read some of the articles that they're still dealing with today. I mean, to be exposed to asbestos and Agent Orange, and again, like you said, like maybe they're in there for some petty crime and now they have a lifetime of illness. For what? And for what? Do you think they paid them a lot of money? I think it was, $1 here, $5 here, maybe $100 or $200 to some, depending on the experiment.
It's horrendous.
So that's the story of the Holmesburg Prison experiments.
I'm going to give you a challenge.
Uh-oh.
The next time we do story, maybe something a little bit
fun
that has a fun ending.
Oh,
or like maybe a happy ending.
My last one wasn't too depressing. The guy who tried to burn up his restaurant.
That was another terrible story.
It's not as bad as this one, though.
I can't handle it. You've got to have something fun in your arsenal. There's got to be something that's gonna. Because you look at me and I'm just like, I know. I can't take it.
What do you want from me?
I can't take it anymore. But I guess that's kind of what this podcast is. But it's
my
so
vibe.
fucked up. It's your vibe.
Doom and gloom is my vibe. I'm sorry.
You know what it is? It's a moral justice. Like your stories have a lot to do with like right and wrong as far, you know what I mean? Like you do a lot of stories that I think really highlight these huge injustices against a group of people. A lot of, you know what I mean? A lot of your stories are like that, which are great.
I know, they're just depressing. I get it.
It's so depressing.
I know. Sorry, America, do better. How about that?
Yeah, I was going to say that. We are kind of digging into one of the worst fucking countries' histories ever.
So, what do you want? I mean, I got nothing to work with here but doom and gloom. Screwed.
Oh my God. Well, how about that? Let's listen. We got 2 weeks.
Oh God.
What do we come back on episode 167 and both of us do a story that's not doom and gloom. That's maybe a success story. A candidate that came up out of nowhere and actually was successful.
Story?
What do you think?
I don't know. You could do a happy. I can't.
You can't find something.
No.
What do you mean?
Because everything.
Stop touching the microphone. You're making me nuts.
Sorry. I can't do it. I'll try. But I don't know if I can follow
There's got to be something. Like, I know the clown that I covered died.
That was fun.
But it was a fun story.
That was a fun
maybe
story.
We can find something like that.
I'll try. I'll say I'll try.
Okay.
I can't promise anything.
No, I get it. It's all shit. What do you got me working with here?
Oh
like,
my God.
I get it.
What are we going to do?
All right.
Okay.
Well, today. I love when you go, I'm covering the Ohio gang.
Oh, I want to sing the song, but I've sung it too many times on this show. But you all know it. You all know it by now. Dang.
So this is going to touch on stuff I've done before. The Teapot Dome scandal that I did on episode 47. So we got a cast of characters here.
Ooh.
And at the helm is President Harding, Warren G. Harding, which is the fucking dopest ass president's name. Warren G. Harding? Bitch, she's about to spit some fucking lyrics out, motherfucker.
Hard.
Spit some bars out. Is that what the kids say? I don't know. I'm 45. Old lady. Spitting bars.
You are hot. What?
Spitting bars. He's such a good president. He's a great president and he can rap.
Oh.
It's entertaining. The Ohio gang was a gang of politicians and industry leaders closely surrounding Warren G. Harding, the 29th president of the United States. Many of these individuals came into Harding's personal orbit during his tenure as a state-level politician in Ohio.
Ooh.
Warren G. Harding was elected president by promising to return the nation to normalcy and opposing the idealism of his predecessor, Woodrow Wilson. Another fantastic name.
Yeah.
Woodrow Wilson. I love it. He captured 60% of Americans' votes and won by a landslide. After Harding had won the election, he appointed many of his allies and campaign contributors to powerful political positions and control of vast amounts of government money and resources, which I say, drain the motherfucking swamp. Drain the swamp, drain the swamp, and then he just immediately fills the swamp with all the fucking people.
It's so funny to me.
It's so good.
It's so funny to me.
Good. And guess who else does that? Ron DeSantis.
Yeah.
Everybody he put
Donald
in power.
Trump.
Donald Trump. I know that's what I was referring to. But but DeSantis did the same thing at Reedy Creek and at the new college.
It's so stupid.
It's all people who gave him money.
Nepotism much, people.
Reedy Creek, where they're gonna tell you what Disney movies are gonna come out next. The content.
I hope. God,
it's the greatest thing that's ever happened. This is the story of the fucking year. It's got to be the story of the year. There's nothing else. Take my personal private rights away from me. The fact that you fucking took over a goddamn corporation's business is fucking
crazy.
Wildness. It's
bananas.
And we're all watching it happen. It's unfolding in front of us. There's nothing we can do.
Can't do anything. But Disney can do something. Please do.
See.
I want Disney to pick up sticks so bad and leave.
Yeah.
That would be my dream.
That's not going to happen.
That would be my dream.
That's not going to happen. But I got to tell you, I think that Disney is like resourceful, clearly, and like sneaky. And I think that those lawyers, there's no way they're taking us lying down. Like there's something that's going to happen.
I hope. I'm waiting.
Well, at the very least, they're going to stop contributing to all of these. They're not giving money to any Republicans. Like you could, we'll see. We'll see. But they said they're going to stop making when the Don't Say Gay thing happened, they said they're going to stop making campaign contributions across the board. So we'll see who Disney's giving money to this year, but still.
I'm sick of these corporations in general giving money. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of Citizens United. I'm sick of it all. All these corporations have more rights than the human beings that spend money at the stupid corporations.
So this Ohio gang gets to DC and they're all fucking troublemakers, right? Like every single last one of them, there's shit fucking happening. They're doing their deals. Like it's so I'm going to talk about one of the little scandals, but one of them was that Teapot Dome scandal, right? So Ohio gang members, Attorney General Harry M. Daughtry and Interior Secretary Albert B. Fall were considered to have been responsible for acts of corruption and cronyism. Albert Fall, if you go back and listen to the episode 47, was the Teapot Dome scandal, and eventually he was jailed for taking bribes. And the Teapot Dome was considered America's biggest political scandal up until Watergate. So it was the biggest scandal to happen within a administration. This group of gang met regularly at the infamous Little Greenhouse on K Street. There was no information that proves that Harding knew of the scandals that were going on during his time in office. But I'm sure he heard rumors. Knew. Yeah, I'm sure that Warren
The Little Greenhouse. He knew what's going on.
So, internal opposition to this group. Not every member of the Harding administration was a member of the so-called Ohio gang. Among the critics of the clique, among the critics of the clique was Harding's straight-laced Secretary of Commerce, Herbert Hoover, who, while generally appreciative of Harding, viewed the motivations and behavior of the Ohio gang with thinly concealed disgust. In his memoirs,
I love that. Thinly disguised.
In his memoirs published in 1952, Hoover depicted Harding's Ohio cronies as a reflection of a character flaw of Harding. He said, quote, Harding had another side which was not good. His political associates had been men of the type of Albert B. Fall, whom he appointed Secretary of the Interior, Daughtry, who he appointed Attorney General, Forbes, who he appointed Director of the Veterans Bureau, Thomas W. Miller, whom he appointed Alien Property Custodian, which I did a story on, and Jesse W. Jess Smith, who had office room in the Department of Justice, who I'm going to talk about. He enjoyed the company of these men and his old Ohio associates in and out of the government. Weekly White House poker parties were his greatest relaxation. The stakes were not large, but the play lasted most of the night.
Ooh, and you know they're talking.
Yeah. I had lived too long on the frontiers of the world to have strong emotions against people playing poker for money if they liked it. But it irked me to see it in the White House.
Let people play a game of cards already.
You know this.
What's wrong with you?
Oh, Herbert Hoover.
God, relax a little bit.
Stick in the mud.
Boring.
Poker? At the White House?
How dare they?
Clutch my pearls.
I mean...
Calm down, Hoover.
Relax a little bit.
Although the religious Hoover was invited to the White House poker party once.
They're like, get this guy out of here.
He was never invited back.
Because he's boring.
Yeah, he's probably sitting there going, this shouldn't be happening in the White House. What
or he's going to be like, you are bluffing? That's not fair. He doesn't know how the game works. What a loser.
Yeah. So
what a loser, Hoover. Get out.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
Oh, because Tina's against religion. This guy's religious. Tina's like, now Tina.
And I like poker. I grew up with people playing poker my whole life. So how dare you?
Did you hear that though? But did you hear that tone? I grew up playing poker my whole life. I know people playing poker. Like that Italian thing just came in. Did you hear it?
That Italian come out every time.
Woo!
Don't mess with me. Don't mess with me.
I won't. You know what? Do whatever story you want next week. Like I don't want to get on that list. Go ahead. Tina, I love your stories. They're so good. Do whatever story you want. I'm fine. I can deal with it.
They make you happy?
I do cry afterwards, but I will deal with it. I'll suck it up, okay? No Cosa Nostra over here, please. Okay, so Jesse Smith. Jesse W. Jeff Smith was a member of President Harding's Ohio gang. He was born and raised in Washington Courthouse, Ohio, where he became a friend of Harry Daughtry as children. And there, Daughtry helped him to become the successful owner of a department store. Smith became Daughtry's gopher during the 1920 campaign when Harding was running for president. And Smith came to Washington as an aide to Daughtry as the U.S. Attorney General. So this guy's Smith wasn't unappointed like in the administration, but he came along as this aide and he would run around and do things for these guys. But he was like a friend, but he was in the group, right?
Okay.
So he had a desk at the Department of Justice and he was Harry Daughtry's chief advisor.
Oh, I mean, that's a pretty good gig.
Yeah, and nevertheless, he wielded considerable influence, right? Because you're close to that inner circle. And he was Daughtry's roommate at the Washington, D.C.'s Wardham Park Hotel. So they didn't you don't live there full time.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the scandal with Smith. It was rumored, the rumors going around D.C. was that he had sold bonded liquor to bootleggers. And the motives behind why he was doing it were linked directly to the Harding administration. So why was he... So this thing was going around, and these kinds of rumors weren't great, especially for these other gang members who were up to shenanigans. Because... Now
the light's shining on
right, all and so like all these other guys didn't want people talking about it because obviously the Teapot Dome scandal was brewing, but people were hearing about it. But there's other scandals in these other departments that these guys were running, and they were all running their own kind of scams. And so here's this guy selling to bootleggers, which was a big fucking no-no, right? So what's the deal? Okay, so there's events that lead up to this thing. Okay. And so one of the things was that Harding goes to Alaska. He goes to visit Alaska, the president, and he hears these rumors before leaving to go to Alaska. And he told Daughtry he wanted Smith out of Washington. He heard these rumors about the bootleggers, he's like, you got to get him the fuck out of here. Right. I can't have a scandal in my administration. Meanwhile,
he's trying to put out some fires.
He doesn't know that these other guys are up to fucking shenanigans too, right? But he's like, dumb. Get Smith out of here. So a couple of days later, on May 30th, 1923, Smith dies from a gunshot wound and was found with a pistol at his side.
Oh no!
He's murdered. His death was pronounced a suicide. But Alabama Senator James Thomas Heflin alleged otherwise, first at an investigative hearing and later on the floor of the United States Senate. Now that's fucking huge. You don't go on the Senate floor and start accusing people of murder.
That is now on the record.
Yeah, so that's what he does. He says on the floor, quote, nobody else knew what he, Smith, knew, and with him dead, there was nobody to tell the story, so Jesse Smith was murdered, end quote. He followed up 2 days later in the Senate, quoting an Alabama bootlegger that he had interviewed, and he said, quote, you know, Secretary Mellon loaned the Republican National Committee $5 million in 1920. Only $3 million has been repaid. There is a deficit of $2 million. Jesse Smith was charged with getting that money. The plan was to have the liquor men and the breweries contribute to this fund. Then he shouted, this is one of the reasons why they wanted to get rid of Jesse Smith. So basically, as you can hear, he's saying that the Republicans were owed this $2 million, or this guy Mellon was owed this $2 million from the Republican Party, and they had to come up with it somewhere. And so Jesse Smith was trying to make that money back by selling this liquor. Wow. To pay back at least this is what the accusation was.
Allegedly.
Yeah. And that when it got rumored that it was happening, we had to get rid of him because he could flip, basically, and say, yes, I was doing this thing for the party, i.e. Harding. Right? Okay. So, did Harding know that Smith was going to die? Like, what's the deal? So here's this other thing. This is kind of weird. So when Harding prepared to leave DC...
Wait, and this is when he's in Alaska?
He was getting ready to go to Alaska.
Was he in Alaska when the guy died?
Wait, I don't think so. So when Harding prepared to leave DC, Herbert Hoover found him. You know Herbert, our blessed holy man.
Mr. Boring.
And he found him and he was nervous and distraught. And his mood changed little while they were aboard the ship. So no, he did not know. They get on the ship to go to Alaska and Hoover's going with him. And Hoover, he later recalls in this little passage what happened on the ship. Okay. So he says, quote, this is in his book. One day after lunch, when we were a few days out, Harding asked me to come to his cabin. He plumped at me the question, quote, if you knew of a great scandal in our administration, would you, for the good of the country and the party, expose it publicly, or would you bury it? My natural reply was, publish it, and at least get the credit for integrity on your side. That's what Hoover says. And then he remarked that this method might be politically dangerous. I asked for more particulars. He said that he had received some rumors of irregularity centering around Smith in connection with cases in the Department of Justice. He had followed the matter up and finally sent for Smith. After a painful session, he told Smith that he would be arrested in the morning. So Harding was like telling Smith,
you're going down.
I'm not protecting you. Smith went home, burned all the papers, and committed suicide. Harding gave me no information about what Smith had been up to. I asked what Daughtry's relations to the affair were. He abruptly dried up and never raised the question again, end quote. So Harding must have known what was going on.
He had to know.
Yeah. He left after Daughtry. So he left.
So he dies, and now he's like on this trip, like,
Yeah. The last conversation I had with him was about this thing.
It's very convenient that the papers are burned.
Yeah.
And because, I mean, if he's going to take this route of suicide, why not leave the papers there and like, you're going to arrest me? Screw all of you and leave all the evidence. You know, the burning of the papers is weird.
There's probably a sense of loyalty, I mean, with these guys, right?
I don't know.
During his Alaskan trip, Harding suffered the first heart attack of what would prove to be his last days. So he's in Alaska and has a heart attack. This happens in May. He dies 3 months later. Harding does on August 2nd, 1923, from other heart attacks.
Like the stress of this.
Yes, but he dies in California. So they're in Alaska. He has this heart attack. They go to California for him to get treatment, and he dies there. He keeps having He keeps having a couple of heart attacks.
My God.
Right. So following Harding's death, Hoover and Secretary of State Charles Evans Hughes approached the new president, Calvin Coolidge, and asked him to remove prominent Ohio gang member Daughtry as Attorney General. They're like, this guy's no good. He's tied to shit. We got to get him out of here. And now Harding's not here anymore, so who the fuck needs this Ohio gang bullshit, right?
Yeah.
Harding's death had done nothing to stem the tide of emerging scandals revolving his Ohio clique, with the news dominated by the story of the Teapot Dome bribery and allegations of wrongdoing in the Office of the Alien Property Custodian, episode 119. I did that story. The Veterans Bureau and the Office of the Attorney General. Like, there was just shit coming out everywhere.
So no one's thinking about this Smith guy.
Yeah. Hoover recalled from his book, he also said, quote, Coolidge was loath to believe that such things were possible. He greatly delayed the removal of Daughtry from the cabinet. From this man's longtime character, he should have never been in any government. Coolidge had a high sense of justice and asserted that he had no definite knowledge of wrongdoings by Daughtry and could not remove him on rumors. We urged that Daughtry had lost the confidence of the whole country and himself should be willing to retire for the good of public service. End quote. So finally, on March 28th, 1924, Coolidge requested and received a letter of resignation from Daughtry, effectively terminating the Ohio Gang's last leading member. The term Ohio Gang, while used as an epithet by some during the decade of the 1920s and subsequently, was embraced by others. So people, loved it. In 1932, memoir Harry Daughtry unabashedly declared, quote, I was a true son of Ohio, the battleground of the nation. I frankly confessed to leadership in the so-called Ohio Gang for about 40 years.
Wow.
On the lips of rival politicians, the Ohio Gang is the epithet. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
I wear it as a badge as a mark of honor, end quote.
So he's like, haters gonna hate.
Yeah.
I'm part of this gang.
Yeah. And that's it. That's the Ohio Gang.
So I wish that there was more. I would love to see, like, where was the gun when he was laying down? Like, was it close to the body, far from the body? Like, you know, is it a clear, you know what I mean? Because sometimes like it's unclear, but is it Washington, like doctors that are you know what I mean? Like that are tied to the administration that are saying, yes, it's a suicide and like, let's wrap this up right away. You know what I mean?
Remember I did the suicide of Vince Foster? Yeah. The lawyer that was friends with the Clintons and that whole thing? Yeah. Kind of reminds me of that. Yeah. Where they tried to tie it to the administration. I mean, I think that he was in a lot of trouble. I think he knew he was in a lot of trouble. I mean, if he had that conversation with Harding and the president, who you know is also telling you, like, I'm not going to protect you, you're going to go to jail. Like, maybe he didn't want to go to jail and he wanted to protect the people around him. That's possible. I think it's possible. Yeah. But you're dealing with shady characters all over the place. Not just the bootlegging, but the people who are the attorney general. They're all shady as fuck. Who knows what could have happened?
It's overwhelming. Yeah.
It is overwhelming. I mean,
it's just scandal after scandal after scandal after scandal after scandal after scandal. And I have so many, I have so many things on my list that it's just...
Oh, me too.
Fan book moment.
Oh, banned book moment. Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes.
This is from The Hate You Give.
Oh, great.
You can destroy wood and brick, but you can't destroy a movement. Can I look over?
Yes. It's so good, Tina.
Yeah. So that's our other fan book quote of the week.
So what is you know what I'm going to ask you now? Why do they want to ban this book? What's the purpose? What's the point? Like, what is it in the book that they don't want people, they think that will be harmful to children?
I would say, I think some people have like an issue with what they view as like anti-police rhetoric.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Probably the language. You know, anything, like they're coming after anything if it has curse words in it, if it has a sex scene in it, if it does anything that could possibly excite someone. It's wild to me. Just let people read books, man. I just finished a book that was one of the craziest books I've read in a long time. I was like, what in the world is happening? And it was called Das Perfume. The Perfume. There's a movie about it. And it's this guy who has this like intense sense of smell. And then he's like starts murdering girls because he wants to capture their scent to make like the ultimate perfume. And like he's able to make this like perfume, and like when he wears it, like people go crazy and like they have like these wild orgies. It's
wow.
Yeah.
What a book.
It was.
This is a movie?
It was a movie. No, that happens at the very, very end. Very weird. But he is like, he just he wants to capture the scent of people. No, it's no bueno. He's no good. No. It's just very odd. It was.
Is there a smell? There's a particular cologne that I smell. I immediately think of someone, or there's someone that, you know. Yeah. But also there's a perfume that I smell that reminds me of my grandfather's second wife. Whew. She was a lot. But she had this perfume and she would wear it so heavy. And when I smell it, even to this day, I smelled it as a child. But even to this day, when I smell it, I go, oh God. I immediately think about her. And it's just like, oh.
I think there are they say that smell is like one of the best things like to trigger memory.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
You know? Yeah. But there's definitely a couple perfume. Like there's a perfume that like if I smell it, it immediately reminds me of my mom, you know? Yes. And the other day, a student had, you know, put some perfume, whatever it was, it had, I just thought of my grandmother. Yeah. You know, and I was like, oh my God, like,
my grandfather, I grew up down the street from my grandfather, and he had a pool. We would just walk down to his pool all the time. And around the pool, there were gardenia bushes. And when gardenias bloom, it is the most beautiful smell.
It is so beautiful.
And today, if I walk by and smell a gardenia, I think about my papa in that pool. Oh. I know.
I love that.
Oh, God. Such a great guy. So fucking funny. Aww. So funny. I'm going to show you something real quick. Hold on. Okay. This picture is so fucking funny to me. So when I was growing up, my grandfather had this picture hanging up in his den. And I always thought it was so funny. Because the story behind it is that my grandfather was not the tallest man, and nobody in his family really was very tall. So
you're very tall, though.
Right, I think I get it from my dad's side, but in this picture, it's my grandfather here, and that's his mother, and that's his brother. So the picture,
tall, yeah,
they take the picture, and they get it developed, and my uncle, this is my great uncle Robert, he looked at it, he goes, what the fuck? How are you taller than me? They go to take the picture, my grandfather put up on his tippy toes. He got up on Timmy's tippy toes so he could be taller in the picture.
I love that.
And he would love to tell the story. So when he passed away, in his house, this picture was in his house, and his other brother Donald got a copy of it for me because I used to fucking laugh so hard.
That is so cute.
My grandfather, you see that little gap in his teeth?
Aww.
I'm gonna cry.
Don't cry.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I didn't know any other grandparents. I had met my dad's parents like maybe once or twice because they lived in California. And then my grandmother, my mother's mother, passed away before I was born. So he was the only grandparent that I knew. And he was just the funniest, like kindest man I've ever known. He was just so lovely. And I feel so lucky to have grown up so close to him. And like when my grandmother passed away,
You're making me cry now.
I know, but my mom has 2 sisters, and he said to the 3 girls, somebody please come back. We were living in Louisiana and New Orleans, and so my mom said to my dad, like, we gotta go, and packed up my sister and I, moved back here. My brother was born here, but they bought a house like a block away from my grandfather, and like being in his house was the greatest joy. He just would allow us, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
because
grandparents are everything.
Yeah, and life at home wasn't always easy, and so it was just a place to be children, you know. Yeah. And he would give us Coke and like candy. He's obsessed with chocolate and sweets, but like always had candy, and was just the nicest, funniest, so fucking funny. That dry like Welsh sense of humor. Oh my god, so fucking funny. Just I loved him so much.
I love that.
Anyway, I love this picture, and I love when he's like.
I love that the brother's like, wait a minute.
Yeah, it's such a goofball.
That's not right. Now in history, anybody looks at this picture, I'm the short one. It's so funny.
Oh my god. Such a lovely man.
Aw. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right. Well, we'll see you after Hillary's vacation.
Yay! I'll come back with all my Elvis stories.
I can't wait to hear about it.
All right. Good.